Anyone can give you any gun.
And I passed in 5 days, knew nothing about life insurance.
So it's stupidity of being realistic.
I played that for her, and her mom were like crying, and they're like, we want this.
Like, how did you even think Heather Robeson can do this? Or did you have what was the runway? Did you have, 30 days? If this doesn't work, I'm out?
300 dials a day, or 5 appointments, or 1 sale.
Well, listen, you are worth it. You're worth the extra $10.
Oh my God, which one are they going to qualify for? If they qualify for one, they qualify for all of them.
It sounds so simple because it is. Just call the leads.
All right, y'all, Mac Ag with More Haven Real Talk. So we're going to go through some product training, obviously, but I want to make sure that we understand the strategist will always defeat the tactician, the one who knows how to think versus how to do. So maybe one note to make is to, go through the journey of learning products and such. Think of the products like a gun. Anyone can give you any gun. But if your hands are shaking like this, you're shooting this way, or if you're like gangsters that we see on the movies shooting like this, ain't no aim doing that. So you have to think the right way. One thing to think properly is the stupidity of being realistic. It's stupid to make realistic goals. You know why? Because nothing realistic ever got anywhere. Everything you use right now, from the chair you sit on to the Zoom, everything that you value was thought of by someone that at the time it didn't exist. It was unrealistic. So if you're thinking in those terms that, well, I want to create realistic goals, well, if you think it can happen, you got to think bigger than that, right? So just consider that as we go through. We're going to go through some deeper product training. I always want to give you tangible information. And one of the products we're going to go through today is American Amicable. I am going to be joined by the Queen American Amicable, Ms. Rose. I'm going to go through some of the information that I have, that I know. Obviously, we know that there's certain products that we use AMAM for. You just know it's AMAM. But Rose has the corner market on some of the other products. So let me first go through AMAM. They've been around for a long time. They're out of Texas. Cool company. I will say this. I love me some AMAM. But you might have a little trouble with their website. Once you get used to it, it isn't a problem. But I got to be honest. Hey, and I will say this to their face, and I've told them, when are we getting the revamp? And sometimes insurance companies do this. They make so much money that they it's one of those last things you do, a facelift. But I will say this, compared to the other carriers, it is not as friendly, if you will, right? I always joke around. It's like a 2-year-old, put it together. So if you confront this, it's normal. It's like one of those Chinese shops. It may not look good on the front, but man, they cook some good food, right? Think about that in those terms. So let me start my share. Did I share my screen right? Let me see. I thought I did. All right, perfect. So here's the AMAM products. All right, so there's a few products that they have. Every company that we work with, it's like a vehicle. There's Chevy. There's I don't know, Nissan. Chevy has their Silverado. Their truck, Nissan's truck version is the Tundra, the Tundra, I believe. No, that's Tacoma. Anyway, every deal has their own truck. Same concept. They may have different names, but one is a whole life for a final expense. Maybe one is a whole life for maybe someone that's more, I don't want to say seasoned, someone that's a little bit younger, but one's whole life, maybe one's a term. So AMAM, it's their final expense product. It's whole life. It's called Senior Choice, right? So if you see here, and please, someone text me if you can't see it, because I'm just seeing the screen. It goes from age 50 to 85. I'm going to repeat, 50 to 85. So if you sing someone, they're age 49, it is not Senior Choice. They do have a younger version that is 0 to 49, right? So let me go through the final expense option first. When do I typically go AMAM? Everyone has an area, an order of operations. Like, remember back in the day, PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, right? You remember that back in the day? There's an order of operations when it comes to carriers. Don't get confused. Keep it simple. Now, a lot of people, you can choose your own, but mine typically is America, right? If whatever goes wrong, I'm looking at Prosperity, maybe Aetna, and then AMAM. Now, this training might change that area of order of operations for you, where AMAM is a little bit closer because you're a little bit more used to it. One thing that makes AMAM unique is AMAM, before they do a pre-check, they do require the banking. So normally, with carriers, we get the basics, we get the signature, we get the socials, we run the pre-check first, see if they're even, willing to even look at the client, right? Get looking for the green light, and then we give them options, right? Before we ask for the bank account. AMAM is different. AMAM, you have to actually go to the quote tool, give options first, because once they agree on those options, then you submit it. And once you've input the banking information, as you would normally, then they go ahead and run the pre-check, right? So just keep that in mind. That's one of the reasons that people have kind of swayed away from them. And we'll get Rose's ideas as far as why and how and when she normally uses them. But when it comes to final expense, clopidogrel, Plavix is another name for it. When I hear and I see those words on a financial inventory, I'm thinking AMAM immediately. AMAM is one of those companies, they only take bank accounts. Now, they are unique in that they do take a, what are those online banks? Not Green Dot, but someone help me out. I forgot the name. Text
Cash
me.
App.
What is Cash App? Thank you. Thank you, Rose. They take Cash App. Well, they don't take the card, but Cash App does have the routing and account number. And if the client inputs the routing and account number, here's what's going to happen. And we called in on this, so we know it works. You'll go to validate it. It'll say no. You got to do it like 4 or 5 times, and eventually it will take it. We were on the phone with the AMAM rep when they told us this. And as long as it has an account and a routing number, they will take it. So keep that in mind. Again, that's the number one drug that I go to them for, is because no one else will take that drug level. Level meaning day one coverage. So clopidogrel, Plavix, you got to think AMAM immediately. All right, so I'm familiar with the final expense side. I'm going to turn it over to Rose. Rose, please take it away from all the other stuff for us, and just tell me when you want me to move down.
Okay, so I just want to throw out there that if you're doing telesales, AMAM has a voice signature. So if you're talking to someone who is like, oh, this is my home phone, or oh, I don't know how to do text messages or emails, but they can still have a conversation with you, you can call in and do a voice signature, which some of the other carriers don't have. So if I talk to someone, they're not on a cell phone, they're not tech savvy, I don't want to have to walk them through a signature, you can just call and do a voice recording, super simple. So I just want to throw that out there. So the final expense products, there's actually, do you want me to walk through the 2 different kinds?
Yeah,
or just
please.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
please.
right. So with final expense, they actually, like, American Amicable has a ton of products. So when you look at it and you pull up the website, it can be kind of overwhelming, right?
Keep going.
So
Just let me know when you want me to come up on, bring it back up so that people can see you.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a senior choice and family choice. Family choice is ages 0 to 49, and senior choice is ages 50 to 85. Okay. I think, yeah, they'll show that there. So, but you'll also see there's family protector and legacy protector, which is family protector. I don't know if you've got it.
I don't think I have it up here. It's not on this sheet. Okay, keep going. There's 2 others. I'll pull those up.
All right, so just basically family choice and senior choice is a little bit cheaper than the other one, but the family protector series, for that product, you get the funeral concierge service, which I think is huge for some people. Anyone who's dealt with a loss and had to deal with a funeral home, you don't want to have them trying to upsell your family after you pass. So the funeral, do you want to play the video?
Yeah, so let me do this, guys. Rose shared with me that when it comes to AMAM, there's a certain video, it's a concierge service that they get as part of the deal. Now, other carriers are trying to do something similar with Legacy Safeguard, but if you're in the home, or maybe you're virtual, but if you're in the home and you play this 1-minute video, Rose, this is word from Rose, they will buy. True or true, Rose?
Oh, very true. Like, they will cry and they will say, oh my God, that's what I want.
I'm gonna play this video
And
for you.
it's kind of stupid video, but it hits people hard.
So I'm gonna play this video, and you guys tell what you think. All right. And tell me if you can't hear the voice.
Hi, my name is Will.
Can you hear Rose?
And I'm dead. I know it's sad, but hey, a lot of awesome people are dead. It happens. I'm fine. And while my family is a bit upset, they're not stressed. Because when I was among the land of the living, I made the incredibly smart move of signing up for Everest. If I hadn't, my family would have had to go all over town researching funeral homes and services, dealing with high-pressure salespeople who just want to upsell them, and having to choose from a bunch of options and packages they might not even need, all while dealing with the loss of someone very special. Me. That's why I chose Everest. It's a funeral concierge rolled into a life insurance plan. All you have to do is talk to one person, your Everest advisor. They ask you a few questions, learn exactly what you want and don't want, then negotiate directly with funeral homes, so you know that your family isn't getting taken advantage of. This can save you thousands of bucks. Even so, funerals aren't cheap. It can take weeks to get your life insurance payment, and funeral homes want your money now. But if you have a plan with Everest, you can get your money immediately, like as little as 2 days. That way you'll have everything you need in time. Back when I was still alive, I didn't think much about my death. It wasn't my style. But I did want my family to be taken care of, and Everest was there to do that.
Thank you, Will,
No problemo.
wherever you are.
They can't hear me.
All right.
I've literally played that in a home with a girl. She lost her brother. She lost her dad. She was like in her 30s, 40s. And she went through like a terrible experience dealing with the funeral homes. I played that for her and her mom were like crying and they're like, we want this.
And a lot of clients do want it, by the way, guys. They've asked me about it. Hey, what about choosing it? So if you could have this add-on, this is one of those things that would prevent people from overselling you, because they don't want to have to go do that, because they think and they know that whatever this person is offering is not going to include this. So just keep that in mind. This is not the senior choice, right, Rose? This is the legacy protector, right? Yeah. It's just, I used to be confused when I went through all the MM choices, just to keep it simple. Senior choice is the normal final expense. Yeah. Legacy protector is the one that includes that service that you just heard right now. Yeah. Includes it. So and Rose, what's the difference? Let's say, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old, 10,000, maybe it's $100 for, 20,000 for final expense senior choice. If they were doing the equivalent legacy protector, how much more would that service be? Maybe 110. $10, y'all. $10. Come on, it's a no-brainer. So please just remember, legacy protector, and it's the same qualifications, Rose. So medically. Yeah, so that's important to know too, is when you look at all their different products, their final expense products have the same underwriting, and so do their terms. So when you look at the terms and they have term made simple, safe care, home protector, you're like, oh my God, which one are they going to qualify for? If they qualify for one, they qualify for all of them. So the underwriting is the same across the boards. Awesome. All right, let's jump to a couple of just to keep it simple. So we got the final expense of senior choice. 50 to 85 is what they cover for the older. If you're a younger person, why would you go, and just being honest, we're doing a lot of IULs now. What reason would you have to go a younger person 0 to 49 for final expense or whole life if you have the option of an IUL? Would you? If they don't qualify for an IUL or they don't qualify for a term, this is where I pivot. Got it. So this is still whole life. And when you say don't qualify, give me an idea. What is something that someone would normally qualify an IUL for, but they would take for a final expense under 49 years old? So what they would qualify for an IUL, so you have to be pretty healthy. So if they have more health stuff going on, then I would look at, hey, I don't think they're going to qualify for a term. We don't have any final expense stuff. So say they are just taking like anxiety medications, or there's some kind of there's just some kind of extra medications where you're like, this is a lot of stuff, and they're not qualifying for any of the terms or IULs I submit, then I just transition to that. Because they also have the ROP option where maybe we don't have a guaranteed issue, but if they do have more health conditions, it'll just switch them from level to ROP, and at least they have something. Beautiful. All right.
Or if they're only looking for like, I'm only trying to make sure my burial's covered. I'm not trying to leave legacy money. I'm not trying to cover a mortgage. I just lost my dad and I don't want my kids to have to go through this. I can't spend a lot of money, but I need 10,000 in coverage. Cool. Let's do this.
Boom. Now between this and this, I mean, again, this does the final expense, does this include the legacy or not that concierge service if you were doing it for younger people?
So so you want to look at senior choice and family choice. That's your choice to have the cheaper price, right?
Okay, so
But if you do family protector or legacy protector, you're
Mm-hmm.
protecting your family with that extra cover. That's like my little saying. You get the concierge with the protector, but you get to choose to have a lower price if you don't want that.
Remember that protector means you get the concierge. The choice means you save some money. So for 10 bucks, is it really worth it? Calling around, I don't think so. So I think it's worth it to get the 10 bucks. Just I don't even give clients the option. If I'm being real with you, don't even give them the option. Do what's best for them. Say, hey, this will include this. Just like we do with accidental. I don't give you the option. I just tell you this is what you will get. And then you will go from there. Because if you give too many options, they will say, I want to think about it. Just tell them what it is. You got to speak from your own passion. If you have no passion on this, you say, hey, this concierge service, that's for the birds, then don't offer it. But for me, it just makes sense. So moving forward, ain't no senior choice for me. It's straight the protector is how it works. Protector for legacy and family protector is how it works. So let's talk about the terms. So the term made simple. There's a home protector. There's a lot of them. Let's keep it simple for these folks, Rose. Which one do you go with if I have a mortgage and I want to just cover the mortgage?
Well, so home protector is designed specifically to cover a home. You have to have a mortgage to get that one. It is a little bit pricier, but on that one, some people want to feel like their life insurance is designed specifically for homeowners, like they're special, right?
Sure.
Because they have the home. So I use home protector if they have a mortgage, but I will tell you term made simple is the lowest price across the boards, but they don't have ROP. So if somebody wants to get return of premium, like where they get all their money back, it's actually, I think they just upped it from 75% to 100% back. Yeah, so you're showing it right there. So easy term and home protector give you the return of premium options. If they just want a simple term with the lowest price, that's term made simple.
Copy that. So just keep that in mind. Easy term, we don't normally write this and this. Easy term and term made simple are about the same product. The difference is night and day when it comes to comp. Typically, we don't write it for that reason. And hey, here's why that's important, y'all. If you're going to go around just offering the cheapest, dirt cheapest for every client, you will not be in business. You will not be in business. Why? Well, listen, you are worth it. You're worth the extra 10 bucks because your service is better than old Joe's service. I just had a debt claim, y'all. I just posted on Telegram. A debt claim. I know I will track down that beneficiary. I am worth the extra 15 bucks, right? So let's offer value, not just price. Because again, the couple, and here's the deal. If a client will leave you for $2, $3, you didn't do your job. If literally $2 is what makes them leave you, then $2 will make it. You just didn't do your job. So understand, guys, it's okay to offer a little bit more because you are worth it and you're given the value. So, Rose, going back, term made simple. Just give me your go-to. So if you're going to offer AM term, generally across the board, where do you go?
If I'm going to offer AM term,
yep.
Well, if I'm doing mortgage protection, I'm going to home protector, right? Okay. And then they have the new one. I'm not really well versed with it yet, but I think it's exclusive to us. It's the Safe Care one.
That's right.
Term, and I was looking at the prices and playing with it earlier, and it looks like it's the price point's super good. I just think one thing that's important to say when you're doing American Amicable and say you're trying to quote it, when you're quoting it, you have to add some of the stuff on. Can you pull up the quoting, like go to insurance? Yep.
Yeah. So AMAM is one of those, you have to literally, it's like an a la carte. You got to literally add everything.
Yeah, there's kids like critical, chronic, terminal, like all those, you have to add on there it is. Yep. So I just think it's important to see this because I've had a ton of people ask me,
Safe
like,
Care.
you try Safe Care, that's fine. Or yeah. So when you say you've got a mail in Texas, no tobacco, That tobacco for 12 means has he used tobacco in the past 12 months. That tobacco for 36 means 36 months. How many years? So if the drop down on that's going to be 30, whatever, and 20 years for return of premium, 30 years for return of premium. But then you're going to do, if you just put an age in there,
Just put 30.
30, and then you put the coverage amount, say you do like 200,000, right? Well, all this stuff down here, if you want to add critical illness rider, you've got to pick I don't do all three because it never comes out right. But if you do the percent, I usually do like 50, right? And then just say the only accidental, if you put that many on there, you do 100,000. And then if you wanted to add a disability benefit where if they're permanently disabled, they get a check, I usually put 1,000 there for a disability benefit. No, down the next one.
Oh, next one. Thank you.
Yeah. And then if you just hit generate quote, then you can download the PDF and any questions you have, like it, so
it didn't like it. And by the way, this is one of the reasons that sometimes I just keep it simple, because I don't, when I'm trying to quote, I want to just make sure I don't get these errors. But basically, they have certain rules where you can't ask for certain illnesses and coverage based on certain amounts. This one says the maximum you can do.
Just do 200. Just show one so they can see how to open up the PDF and read what it says.
All right. So we got accidental disability was 1,000.
Yeah, that's fine.
And we said generate quote.
Just do generate quote.
Like
oh my God.
Hey, that's why that's why we're doing this, because we don't want you to go through now. And I get it, guys. A lot of the other carriers keep it simple, right? But here's the deal: sometimes you go this direction, and I'll give you a little insight. Joe Catran, he was the #1 producer for Mutual of Omaha. I asked him, when do you use AMAM term? He said, well, he uses AMAM term when other carriers will not take it. I said, well, what do you mean? He gave me some examples, like, for example, bronchitis, maybe like they had some anything with lungs. AMAM are they're more lenient when it comes to those kind of things for terms than other companies. So just keep that in mind as time goes on. I'm gonna kick this off and just go with it.
Yeah, then hit view download PDF. I was just trying to show you, like, you may run into errors. You just got to keep playing with it. Hit view download PDF and explains basically everything that you just did is all explained right there. So if you just read that and you don't know what it is, it explains all the writers. And you can do that for any of them: family choice, senior choice, whatever. Sorry, I overcomplicated that.
All right, so we want to make it simple. Now, let's talk about real quick. Let me show you guys this PDF. So yeah, so you can have a PDF immediately, make it easy for you to see, so forth and so on. Now, what is cool is they do offer all three: chronic, critical, and terminal, typically. I know that there's some of them that only offer terminal and chronic. So you have to look at the sheet. The goal is not for this to be an exhaustive prose on everything AMAM. The goal is for you to know where to go. Where to go if you want to get more details. Go to AmericanAmicable.com and go to Products at a Glance. Rose, could you share what you said to me via text about becoming a professional underwriter?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so when I very first got started, there was a guy that got on our Zoom, and he was like, if you're going to be a field underwriter, learn how to field underwrite. The way you learn how to field underwrite is you get the product underwriting guides. You look at your cheat sheets, and then you put them like next to your bed, next to the bathroom, wherever. And like you take that seriously and you study it, because eventually you don't want to have to call Mac, or you don't want to have to call Raul and be like, hey, which way do I go? After you've ran a few appointments, you should get the gist of what medications are going to be a problem, what the issues are, and just like study your craft. And way you can do that, like you can go to AmericanAmicable.com. You can go hit order supplies. I went to every carrier I had, and I said, how do I get a copy of the underwriting guide? I carried it with me. I checked everything with drug lists. It took me a long time running my first appointments, but I kind of learned from that. Like take this seriously. You've got to learn how to field underwrite, especially if you're doing it over the phone, because you have to be fast. So like in order to close deals, you have to know which way to go.
In this day and age, here's the truth, y'all. Greatest strength is we got insurance toolkit, all these blah, 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 that can make it easy. But here's the deal. I don't promote that because what happens is, instead of it being a tool, it becomes a crutch, and you do not become a professional field underwriter. So if we're going to help you, what we ask is, hey, post your financial inventory, make a recommendation. You tell us, I think it should be this. and then we will confirm or redirect where you should go, so that we're empowering you, not enabling you. So if you want to be professional, go to all the carriers, get the underwriting guide, and better yet, get the financial inventory booklet. On the very back, guess what it has? All the underwriting guide. So that's the thing. Rose,
One
thank you.
quick thing for
Yeah.
you, Mac. AM has live chat. If you have a client and no
Okay.
one's responding to you on your underwriting, you go to americanamicable.com. There's a little blue chat box. You hit live chat and you do a risk assessment and tell them the medications, and they'll tell you if it's during regular business hours, if they'll approve you. So I think that's important, but that's all.
Yeah, a lot of carriers, you got to call them and you're on hold. American Amicable, but purposely, because the underwriters would be bombarded if you talk to them all day, every day, and they would never get any work done. The live chat feature is hot. Most places, they don't have a feature where you can do a back and forth with carriers. You can go on your iPad, y'all. I'm talking in the home, even when you're doing virtual. You get on live chat and say, hey, I'm just talking to underwriting real quick. And you literally are talking to underwriting. You put in your name, your agent code, your last four, your social, and you say, hey, client is taking this drug. Would you take him? They'll say, well, what is it for? And they'll legit tell you up front whether or not they'll take him. Now, the cool thing is we would kind of direct you. We may say, hey, check AMAM. Let's say the guy is taking this anxiety med. Hey, check AMAM. You can go to the live chat and you can find out, which is really a big deal. Rose, let me ask you this last, and we'll transition. All the carriers we got, what is your order of operations? We got America, we got Prosperity. Again, just being real, everyone has their personal. What is your order of operations when it comes to writing carriers, when it comes to term and final expense?
All right, so I go Americo. It's my first choice, always. We love Americo. Next choice, I either look at Aetna or Prosperity, and then I pivot usually to, and Aetna only has final expense, so then I'm looking at Prosperity. Honestly, I like Prosperity, and then Prosperity kind of tells me if there's any issues, so I may try American Amicable, or I may be ending up going AIG or Accidental.
There it is, y'all. That's about mine too. And the difference is I look at health and then ease of the application. Health, ease of the application. That's how I roll. All right, Rose, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you. AMAM is a carrier we use, we love. And as you get more familiar with them, then you'll write them more. I'm going to say two things, and then we're going to bring our special guest on the show. So we talked about it briefly in the beginning about ideas. Don't make realistic goals. Make goals that stretch you and pull you. Here's what I'm going to tell you. You want to make big, hairy, they call it baggy goals. They're big and hairy. If a goal doesn't scare the heck out of you, then it's not big enough. That's just being real. That means you're not thinking big enough. Typically, most of your whys, meaning what's hurting you, the reason you got in this business, it's something that requires funds, finance. I'm talking, you're thinking beyond yourself. And if your why is typically very expensive, it takes a lot of money. You're not going to accomplish your why with a goal that makes you comfortable. Period. I'm just being real with you. It's very, very rare, unless your why is just hey, I'm just going to go, pay my rent. Simple stuff. But you got to establish big, hairy goals. Get with the people that are supporting you, and they will check you. Hey, that's weak sauce. Do better. Nah, you can do better than that. Let the people help you get bigger goals, because here's the truth. A lot of us, the reason we're not hitting our strides is because our goals are too weak. I'm talking weak. And so we need to transform like the Hulk, but the Hulk transformed when he got mad, and our goals are so weak. I just want to pay my rent. Man, that is so weak. Come on, think bigger than that. Who do you want to help? Because when you think beyond yourself, you transform and become a different person. You call the same leads, but in a different tonality, with a different passion. So come on, make goals that move you. Second thing, let's not compete with folks, y'all. Competition is for sissies. I'm just being real with you. Let's not compete, right? Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it from Grant Cardone. I am ethical, but I never fight a fair fight. I will find every way possible to make sure that I win every time. Why? Well, guess what? I am my competitive advantage. I will work harder, find a way so I have an angle. We don't compete because everyone else, they're just there. There's a difference between competition, right? And competitors. Competition and competitors. Everyone else is just there. So you need to do something that makes sure that you are at a different level than just people trying to compete, because again, there is no competition. Last but not least, we just set up the boot camp. Please get on it. And I'm going to say this, and this is what Sean Mike said. I quote, if you've been in this business longer than 2 years and you're still buying leads at the same level that you were buying leads previously, you messed up. You messed up. We start with leads because we may not have a muscle called, referrals or, social media influencers. But if you've been in this business longer than 2 years, 3 years, you should be buying less and less and less and less, because the name of the game is you have to have value. If you've done this great job, you should get 5 referrals from every client. As far as how to get those referrals, everyone jump on the boot camp. My man, Toby, he went over how he helped over 400 families a year buying 0 leads, because he got referrals from everyone and his referral game was so strong. So if you didn't get the memo, the name of the game is referrals. That's the name of the game. The game is for you to get so good. I service you. You were like, man, I want my friends to have your service. That's the best compliment you can ever have. So keep that in mind as we go through. So that said, it's about 1:30 and it's my pleasure to introduce, I think if I had to say, you guys seen that show, like Wonder Woman and stuff? You guys seen that show? If there was a Wonder Woman, it would be this gal Heather. Because when you think it can't be done, it gets done. I mean, just when she speaks, I want you to hear her out, not only what she's doing. Remember, if you're going to be, if you're going to change, when you take notes on people that you're introducing or that you're seeing, don't do what they do. Don't take so much notes on what they do. That stuff could change, right? Take notes on how they think. I hope you were making sense. How do they think? How did Heather get here? What made Heather Robeson? Because you have the same, you can recreate the same environment so that you can get that super juice, so that you can become a Heather Robeson as well. So Heather, appreciate you jumping on.
That was the most blushing introduction I've ever had.
It's real, right? It's real. So
I
Heather,
appreciate
I
you.
hope you're ready, because we're going to suck your mind right now.
Stuck away.
So
Stuck
one
away.
of the things that I always like to do, we call this Haven Real Talk. So we always get real. We want to find out first, like, what created you? So just give us, how did you get here?
That's a long story, Mac. No, just kidding.
I hear it. Please tell us.
46 years old. And I said to myself, I had been a teacher. I had owned a daycare. I had twins. My husband died. I'd been in a divorced family. I had been divorced, 46 years old, and I was losing my job because of the COVID. And so I was door dashing at the time. And I said, self, you're 46 years old. I cannot see myself doing that for the rest of my life. And I have twins, and they were 12 at the time. And at some point, their father's, I call them death benefits, are going to go away. I had 6 years of that money. What am I going to do? And so I had a neighbor, a friend who also homeschooled, who also lived right down the road, who was crazy, lived a crazy lifestyle, but had fancy cars. And I was really intrigued by that. And I was like, she's got 6 kids under the age of 10 with fancy cars. And yeah, she's busy. What are you doing? And she told me, and she did this. And I was like, okay. And that was in February of 21. And
real quick, Heather,
yeah.
had that neighbor ever, were you friends or were you kind of acquaintances?
No, we were friends. We were neighbor friends.
And she never even
not
said,
once.
Hey, Heather,
not once. As a matter of fact, I used to watch her kids while she went on appointments.
Let me ask you this, Heather. Had she say, hey, Heather, you may or may not be interested, but by chance, do you keep your, had she said that, what would you have said?
Mac, you know me, I would have tried it.
So listen, the first note is the people you don't think will do this probably might. The people you think will do this probably won't. It's just that simple. So you get
However, I am going to say, I really truly believe things happen for a reason. And I truly believe that God has his path for you. So it is okay. I'm good with it. I'm not going to look back, because what happened next was in February of that year, I got the course and all the study stuff. And And I looked at it, I might have looked at it once, but my life was so crazy. We were moving from Connecticut to El Paso, Texas, 2,400 miles, bought a house. But the house wasn't perfect, had to renovate the house. And then eventually we were getting married here at this house. So we were doing all of that. And I just said, this is too much for me. So I put it off to the side. So then November came when my job was really going away for real this time. And so then I started studying and I passed in 5 days, knew
Boom.
nothing about life insurance.
So it's
nothing.
possible. So the whole, I need 3 years to pass. That's a joke, right?
No, the key is, oh, I need to know everything in this test. Hell no, I knew nothing. I knew nothing. The only thing I knew about insurance was I got it when the boy's father died. That was it.
That's it.
I didn't even know how I got it. I don't even know. I knew I had an agent and he helped me, but that was all I knew. So then after that, I was very slow to start. So from November until I went to convention, I did go to convention. Key, always go to whatever you can near you, even though it's going to cost you money and time.
And real quick, had you been doing any business prior to going to convention?
Just a few like family and friends. I think I
That's
had
it.
a couple of clients. That was it.
Were there any sacrifices? I mean, was it just easy peasy? Hey, it's right next to me down the street, or did you really have to believe and go?
Honestly, at that point, I hadn't even gotten to that. It was literally trying to survive through everything happening. So the few clients that I had only one in home and the other one was on the phone. And keep in mind, I was not really in a team at that point because she was actually leaving and I was transitioning to Solidity, I think at that point. And Solidity hadn't done telesales and she told me I could be on the phone.
You could not.
No, I could. That
Good.
was, and she was, I said, can I do this with homeschooling? And she said, yes. So I'm a person that says, if I can do it, then I'm going to do it. And so I came into Solidity and nobody had done telesales. So I was kind of on my own on the telesale side of it. And that was hard. It was very hard. You'll see Christina and Marisa will tell you, I think I cried at least once a month, at least called them once a month.
So if you're crying, it's normal. Right? It's normal.
Right.
Well, let me fast forward for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get real. So you go into this, virtual sales is normal. A lot of you don't know you were born a Ferrari. Now you have people that have already tread the path for you. But whether it's virtual sales, whether it's something else that you're going to be encountering, whatever, you have to go into it with an open mind. What gave you confidence, Heather, that you could do this? Like, how did you even think Heather Robeson can do this? Or did you have what was the runway? Did you have, 30 days? If this doesn't work, I'm out, 60 days? Like, what was going through your mind?
I didn't have a choice. My choice was to either make it work or move to a city where I DoorDashed and I have a Jeep. My Jeep has way too many miles and it costs way too much gas to DoorDash, or teach in a school here. And I know one word in Spanish for the most part, it's hola. And I am in El Paso, Texas. And if you don't know Spanish, you're probably going to get the crap beat out of you in the classroom. So those were my options. So I didn't have a choice.
You were between a rock and a hard place.
Yep.
Can I be
So I
honest?
had to make it work.
Had you not been in such a dire situation where you had so few options, do you think, knowing Heather Robeson, you would have had the gumption, the power mentally to push as hard as you did?
I mean, I do.
Okay, hey,
I
being
do.
real, Heather is
Like
Heather.
there are times, and don't get me wrong, there are times when in the past when finances are hard, because guys, this is a hard business. Your finances can go up and down, where I've been like, well, maybe I need to try the online teaching thing again. And I can teach really early in the morning and then, teach really late at night. That I'm like, Heather, you're dumb. Just sell an extra policy. Just call the leads.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It sounds so simple because it is. Just call the leads.
Now, I promise you guys, we're going to get to some how-tos. We're focusing on getting the ground right, the prerequisites of what makes Heather, because we can just give you the how-tos in 2 seconds, but then you go a second after to go execute it. And you're like, it didn't work the same as she said, because you have to have the right mindset, right? It's like, when you're doing barbecue, you got to prep all that stuff. There was a scene in Wonder Woman, I think the first one, where, there was this, cataclysmic evil guy that was coming. And so the gods sent this weapon, right? And the weapon, they adored it. This is the weapon that's going to save us. And you know what the weapon was? Was her. She was the weapon. That's Heather. So what I'm telling you is, in your situation, you're the weapon. We're looking for all these other exterior weapons to overcome the
It's gotta
challenges
be
out
you.
there. But
It's
you are
gotta
the
be you.
weapon. You just gotta unlock you. That's why we're doing this. So let's go to kind of fast forwarding how to. So you kind of stumbled your way in. Everyone has to pay a price. We know if you wait to pay the price, you'll pay the greatest price, right? What some people go to school for years, they spend a lot of money, make no money. In this business, sometimes we think that we can come in and pay very little or no price and win. Heather, when you were figuring it out, the leads, those cost money. How much were you spending on leads? And let's be real, your first week,
Mhm.
first month, how much did you do? I mean, how many families did you protect and how much did you spend?
I don't know, maybe like 4 in the whole entire month, in the first month.
You wait a minute. You protected only 4 families, and by the way, it's about $1,000 per family. So we're going to transition.
Yes.
So $4,000.
Right.
How much money did you spend on leads?
Well, most of them were family and friends, but I think I probably did 250 a week, so it wasn't very good. It was
So
not a good
250 a
number.
week. Okay.
Right. And that I'll tell you, that stopped. That stopped after I went to convention and I heard Paul McLean and I set up a phone call with him in May. My rear end was in gear at that point. I got a phone call with Paul McLean. That's like anybody with Trey Honeycutt. If you've got a phone call with Trey Honeycutt, you better have your stuff together because don't waste his time.
Absolutely.
Right? That's how my thought was. So it was in May after February that he said to me, how much are you spending in leads? And I told him, and he goes, you need to double that at least. You need to double that and you're going to see your numbers grow. And I was like, crap. What do I do? So I did. And it was more than double. It was at least 5 times my what I was doing.
Let me piggyback. She was spending $250 a week on leads, right? Which
Mhm.
at the end of the month, that's still 4,000, 4 families protected to 1,000. We know it's about a 4x ratio, which is not bad.
And I
But
was really sucking because most of those were my family.
those are a family, right? And getting paid as earned. What was the reason that you didn't spend money on leads? Like, did you not have the money? Were you just scared? What was going on?
I don't think I knew at the time. I really don't think I knew.
Okay.
I wasn't well informed or I didn't listen. That could have been key there too.
You know what's interesting is so many new agents said, no one ever told me. Really? After all the like for real, like no one told you got to spend $1,000 a week full time. Really? You just weren't hearing it, right?
That's right. That's
So
right.
that's probably the case.
That
So
is the
this
case.
call with your leader. He tells you got to spend, how much did he tell you got to spend minimum? He says double it.
Minimum was 500, but I had
Week.
also been listening to training, which is also key for you people. You guys are wanting to know what the keys are. I was training every single day, listening to anybody on YouTube that I could find that I liked. And I was
Okay.
doing it 30 minutes a day, at least every single day, no
Take
matter what I
notes.
was doing.
30 minutes.
And they
you
were
can
saying
binge watch.
1,000 to 2,000. I was like, okay.
And for the new person who is not used to running a business, you're an employee. Like you're not used to spending money, or rather investing in your business in that amount. Maybe you had a lemonade stand, you put in maybe $10, but 1,000 in leads. You either gotta. There's only 3 reasons, folks, that we don't spend that money. And Heather, you tell me if this is true. You either don't believe in the company, you don't believe in your leadership, or you don't believe in yourself.
That was going to be my main one. You don't believe in yourself.
That's it.
But you have to. Nobody else is going to do it for you.
Truth. So you're spending 1,000 a week in leads. How quickly did you see things turn? Like next week?
Oh, it was immediate. It was immediate. By the next month, I'd already 5 times my business.
Really? And this is straight virtual sales.
Correct.
All right. So let's transition to that. So you buy the leads. What kind of leads did you buy?
I always bought from the ILC.
You buy ILC internet leads. Okay. Boom.
Yeah.
You buy those leads. You bought immediately $500. So which is about maybe 125, 200 leads ish, let's say, right?
Yeah. Because it was the cheap ones.
And did you do the bronze? I'm talking the old.
Yeah, it was the cheap
Wow.
ones. It
So
was
she
the
did
cheap
like
ones.
a year and a half, 2 years old leads, right?
Yeah.
You're calling through them. What does your work rate look like when you're calling through these leads? I mean, are you dialing all day, 8 a.m. to 9? What does that look like?
When I started in May doing full time, it was dial 300 dials. This is what I always do. Have always set goals for myself. So a little thing for you to, if you want to do this. Every day I have a goal. I have it written right on my dial sheet. And yes, I use a dial sheet. Guys, I'm a year and a half in. I'm still telling my agents, use a dial sheet. I use my own. But on the corner, I always put, this is what you need to do. So at that time, it was 300 dials a day or 5 appointments or 1 sale. I believe that's what I used to put. So if I didn't accomplish one of those for that day, my day was not done. I had to continue until that was done.
The activity. So you either
Totally
make
different
300
now,
dials
but exactly. Back then it was 300 dials. Yep.
or 5 presentations or 1 sale.
Correct.
Beautiful. So and then when you hit it, you felt good about your day, no matter what the
Then
result.
I got a check mark and I rewarded myself, and I still do it to this day.
I love it. Because here's what's interesting, y'all. The human mind is very peculiar in that it's meant to preserve you. This is like all the technology that we build is based on how crazy and awesomely built the human body is, right? Self-preservation starts in the mind. So your body, your mind will do things to help you win. And here's what happens. If you set goals that are based on results instead of activity and you're not winning, so you say, hey, I'm going to make 5 sales, and you don't hit that goal, over time, there's a word that will happen to you called discouragement. Whereas if you set goals based on activity, guess who's always going to win? You will, as long as you have integrity, right? You don't just quit on yourself. But as long as you're winning, and the way you learn how to win is by what? Winning. You don't learn how to win by losing, y'all. You learn how to win by winning. So Heather, who taught you this? Was it mentorship? Did you just know?
It's literally all the trainings that I've ever been on, and I still do trainings every day.
I love it. I love it.
Always. And everybody in this company has nothing to lose by telling us how to do things. Everybody wants everybody to win. So when you're listening to nuggets of people talk, you're gonna pick up on the one thing that's gonna suit you, right? Which brings me to, if you don't mind, listening to things again. You might have something from 3 years ago that was done, and or maybe they don't even work here anymore, but there's something in what they said that's going to affect you.
Yeah. The training is universal. One thing I want to transition to is, so you dial those leads and you were making money. You 5x your money. We always say it's lead flow, not lead type. At what point did you decide, you know what, I'm going to transition to different kinds of leads? And what did that look like? Did you stop what you were doing? Did you add more? Kind of give me an idea of how that worked.
Lead. Okay. Maurice is probably laughing in her head right now because she's always tried to get me to do mortgage, and I just don't like mortgage. Just don't like it. I will sell annuities. I will sell IULs all day. But for some reason, and I have a house, I have a mortgage, I have more protection on my own house. But for some reason, I just don't like that lead type. Now, that doesn't mean that I haven't tried it. It doesn't mean that I failed because I didn't try it long enough. And if I would just drip it into my system like I do all my other leads, I'd probably just fine with it.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
you have to just do it. You have to just add them in. But
What kind of
I
leads do you
just
run
don't.
now? Like, so you went from the internet.
So I did try an outside lead vendor, which was very good. It was recommended by somebody on a training.
And real quick, before you go on,
Mhm.
if you're doing anything in this business or you're out there kind of wandering, can we agree that you'll be hit up by everyone and their mama about
Oh my
so
Lord.
how
And marketing.
did you vet any outside source? So normally you should stay within the house, right?
I just listen to people on trainings
Okay.
and people in FFL. I know, because I would be scared. Number one, I'm very go-to. Like I found my first job on what's that called? Pinterest.
Yep.
Right. And I did it, and it was working for a Chinese company. I could have totally gotten screwed. Right.
Yeah.
But I did it. So I would be very apt to go to just any company, but I worry because I don't like to deal with law, and I don't want to be in trouble. I know that our leads are good leads because, or good, what's the word for it?
They're
Legal,
yeah, legal.
legal.
CCPA compliant.
Compliant, that's the word. So I know that those leads are compliant. So anytime I venture out, it has to be out of a recommendation for someone who is currently in FFL.
What if I'm in Pakistan? Hey man, I have these leads. They're already pre-called. You just got to go close them.
I defriend them on Facebook.
Just say no. So you transitioned to a vendor that you got, and
Yeah.
so you were still buying the what, 500
It
a
was
week, 1,000 a week?
It was, no, I actually upped it at that point to almost 2,000 a week. That was way after May. So
Okay.
probably beginning of last year. And it went very well. It was good leads and stuff like that. But then let me tell you what happened with leads. So at that point, 6 months into that, the ILC started the Automate and Save program.
Yep.
So they're dripping leads into your system
CRM.
every single day, whatever days you want them to.
Right.
So if you're not automating your leads right now, it's because you're scared, probably because it's money, and you're not. What did you just say? You're banking against yourself, right?
Yeah.
You have to be dripping leads daily, even if it's only a couple of days. Whatever you work out yourself, get leads daily. And you don't have time to go in and go fish around. You're wasting your time. Get off of the computer, automate your leads every single day.
So in other words, you have to set something in motion so much that you can't go back. If you're scared, some of us are scared of leads, and I'll say this, maybe if you're scared to buy leads, why not outsource it? Why not simply get money and say, hey, mentor, here's my money. I'm scared to buy them. Will you please buy them for me? Because
I would do that. I love shopping. I would do it for you.
Let me ask you
I
this,
would
Heather.
set you up good.
Some people will call 2K in leads a risk. And I think Donald Trump and some other people have said, to you, it's a risk. For me, it's calculated. For
That's
you,
right.
why is that not a risk for you? Why is spending 2K a week on leads not risky?
Well, knowledge, number one, I've seen it happen. Number two, you're going to get the money back times. And if there's a one time that you don't, it's usually because you didn't dial them.
What if I suck, Heather? What if, what if I buy 2K leads and I just suck? Isn't that risky? I mean, really, I'm a brand new agent. What do you say?
Well, what if there's a lot of what ifs? What if you don't do it, then you're not ever going to know.
Yeah.
You're just never going to know if it does work. And you're also not putting a lot of faith in yourself, right? Yeah. And you're not trusting yourself. You've got to just do it, like freaking Nike.
Here's what I'm going to share. I think Heather's on the same page. She was born with some, and her experiences have given her a level of confidence. If your level of confidence has led you to where you are now, if you are lacking enough to pull the trigger on you, maybe look in the past. And that's how humans work. We have evidence from the past that breathe the future. Look at all the people. That's why the training was so critical. I looked at all the people that were winning. I'm like, they're the same as me. You have to find a simile. Remember, the human mind, the body, it's about self-preservation. If you put your mind in the mental state where it sees other people like you doing it, guess what the mind will conclude? That you can do it too. You have to go train. That's why you got to do the boot camp. That's why you got to go do the trainings on a daily basis, because that will breed confidence so that as time goes on, if Heather can do it, I can do it. And here's what's cool, Heather. When I was new, I looked for people who maybe look like me. Maybe they talk like me. Maybe, no one was good as me, but it is what it is, right? But I look for people that were like that. And just so that my mind can say, aha, there's someone like me. And boom, that's all you're looking for. Couple of questions that people are asking. Are you getting leads from all over the country? Or are you going, how's that?
Good question. Good question. So as a telesales, you definitely should have, okay, I'm going to pause that and say, depending on your schedule, make a schedule. Schedule's key, right? So if you've got kids, if you've got, another job, if you've got something, make sure you have a set time for those leads. You have to dial the leads. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you to buy different states if it makes sense to your schedule, right? I have multiple states on the East Coast because I can wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and start dialing at 6 o'clock in the morning because I'm mountain time, right? And key word was can. Does that mean I do it every single day? No. Typically by 7, though, I am dialing East Coast leads.
Beautiful.
Right? Then you've got Central Time Zone. That's like your, you know, a little bit behind me, right? I bought Texas, which is all Central except measly little El Paso, and that's where I live, right? So, so in order for me to do anything in El Paso, I had to buy something in Mountain as well because it didn't make sense for me to just dial El Paso leads. So I bought Colorado because I like it. There was no other reason. I like it.
Someone told you to do this. You just did it.
No, no, no. And then what happened was at that point, and then I decided, okay, middle of the day, when it starts to get a little slow, I take time usually for myself, my kids, my family, whatever. And then, so that puts me into a later evening. So now I need something in the West Coast. So I bought Nevada. I don't know why, just because I did. I picked a state, right? I mean, I have multiple states now, but this is how I started it. The only time I added anything else was further was Alaska, because I wanted to work a little bit later into the night. And then I added Hawaii because I was trying to kill it for Hall of Fame at the end of last year. So now you've got every single time zone. The key to that is kind of learning the area when you're talking to the people and not studying street maps or anything like that, but you start getting the same things from people in those areas. You start to, you know, and you develop a culture of that, and you either get accepted into that culture by, I mean, like Chicago, Illinois is my favorite place to sell. Like they love me there. I have no idea why.
Hey, can I mention that? Listen, all this is an experiment. You have to learn where you jive well.
Yeah.
I had an agent up in North Dakota, black, cool dude, Woody. He knows what I'm talking about. He was down in North Dakota. He says, man, Mac, I don't got no sales. You know why? I think they know I'm black, right? He got a lot of resident license in Texas, sold his first deal.
That's
and now
awesome.
he calls us out. So that matters too.
It
Heather,
does.
with the last time that we got, let's go into some how-tos.
Mhm.
So your approach, I know in success, it has so much to do with structure. Are you upfront? You're telling people straight up, here's what I need from you. Or are you more kind of, you know, the camaraderie and then you don't get the banking and social until later? So let's just role play it just to make it easy.
Okay.
And as far as leads, you tell me, what kind of lead am I? IUL lead? Am I internet lead?
I don't care. You tell me. I just not mortgage. No, just kidding.
So let's say I'm just a normal internet lead. You know, you don't know what I look for. So you call me up and I'm in I don't know, Colorado. Ring ring. I say hello.
Hey, Mac.
Yep.
Hey, Mac, this is Heather Robeson. Just giving you a quick call here for that request you filled out online. It may have been a while ago for that final expense burial coverage you were looking into. I know it's been a while, but did you get that taken care of yet?
Yeah, I already took care of it. Thanks.
That's exactly why I'm calling. Well, your agent didn't close that out in our files here. What one of our 50 carriers did you go with?
I think it was like, I don't know, Globe Life or something like that.
Oh, okay, perfect. Well, hold on one second. I'm going to close that out. Now, with your agent giving you Globe Life, what was the reason you went with one of our more expensive carriers?
Oh, I don't know. I just what they gave me.
Okay, all right. Well, the good news is my job is super simple. I work with a lot of low income, high income people, veterans, all that 6 days a week. I'm just here to figure out if there's even a need for you to relook at this, assuming that you just got this recently, correct?
Yeah, about a month ago, month and a half.
Okay, perfect. Were you doing just for your funeral or were you doing it for also a cremation?
All right, we'll
burial?
stop there. That was
Okay.
good. You caused doubt. Let's roll another one. Let's do an IUL lead. Do an IUL lead. So ring ring, say
Okay.
hello.
Hey, Mac.
Yep.
Hey, Mac, this is Heather Robeson. I'm just giving you a quick call about that IUL information that you had filled out online recently. oh shoot, I screwed that all up. Before we filled out on the IUL recently. Now, with the IUL, is this something that you've been looking for in a while, you know a lot about, or you just learning about it on TikTok?
I just saw it on TikTok. Thought it was
Okay, okay. I don't have a ton of time right now. It does take me about 10 minutes just to get you this information, because typically it's not going to be a one-call close, typically. Do you have 10 minutes now where you can grab a piece of pen and
Yeah, I'm just
piece of
looking for
paper and pen?
information. That's all.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Well, my job's very simple. It's exactly what I do. I get you what you need, on a scale of 1 to 10, and then I go on.
Boom.
It's just all the same thing. Yeah, and IULs are just a little bit different. You're not asking any different questions. You're still trying to figure out what they're wanting, what they're needing.
Boom.
So really the key is that your script at the beginning, changing it for the lead.
That's it. Just the introduction of what the lead is.
Yeah.
Everything's the same. And I noticed that you're okay not being polished, Heather. You're okay saying you're
I'm
cool
a
with it.
person. I'm
I
a
love it.
person.
I love it. Heather,
I'm not a robot.
how much would you say someone that wants to help over 400 families a year, how much do they need to spend on leads on a weekly basis?
At the beginning?
Yep.
You're looking at least 1,500 a week.
1,500 a week.
At least at the beginning.
Okay.
But I really liked what you said, Mac, and you're always so good at what you say, but 2 years, you know, you shouldn't be spending any on leads. So you give me high hope that that's coming up soon.
Well, awesome. Heather, I don't see any other questions. Heather is going to be on FFL Home Office. She's always there. She's a world of help for people. What I love about this opportunity is everyone is all about everyone winning. There's no competition. It's collaboration. You compete when you think there's scarcity. There isn't enough for everyone. And that mindset will keep you down. When you collaborate, you know there's enough for everyone. That's the beautiful thing about it. And that will open you up to opportunities you never know. And Heather is one of those people that just gives and gives and gives. So, all right, y'all, be safe. We'll get this up ASAP. Heather, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Looking forward to see you on stage, helping them 400 families. All right, guys, take care, take charge. We'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.